How does a good jockey switch horses? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV. Well, where every Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time, we bring you the most amazing guests, which we have amazing guests today, and also the most amazing content. And we've got some very great content for you today as well in our news section. But before we get to that, couple of things here. Number one, make sure and hit that bell notification so that you'll know when we go live every week. Go ahead and hit that. Make sure, if you have not already done so, to subscribe to the NoteSchool TV channel, and also make sure and like today's episode, right? Go ahead and hit that like button. And also, guys, please keep your comments coming. We love to hear from you. Eddie and I, we like to see what you have to say, see what's going on in your market. And just keep sending those in and keep us informed, and just let us know that you like the show and appreciate the content that we continue to bring you every week at 11:05 Central Time. Also, make sure and if you want to know more about what we do at NoteSchool, just go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And just say you would, ask your questions, more information. We'd love to have a conversation with you. And we'd also like to have you in one of our 2-hour master classes. And we'll talk a little more about that in just a bit. So now I want to do, we're going to have the news, and Eddie and I are going to talk about that. So let's welcome our NoteSchool's founder, our chief visionary officer, my friend, Mr. W. Eddie Speed.
Hello, Joe.
Well, hello there, sir. Hope everything is going well with you today.
Busy
as
a bee, monitoring this crazy market.
Absolutely.
And not, like Joe, I think some people are just monitoring the crazy market. We're studying the opportunities.
Well, and that's it.
Our news thread of today is an opportunity. And I think you're going to like this.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to talk about today, Joe, is if you had a rental, does it make more sense for you to continue to carry rent, or do you convert it to seller financing?
Yes.
And collect that payment?
Yes.
Right. Now, we know with a rental, you have some expenses that with a mortgage, owning a mortgage on the property, you definitely don't have those expenses. You're just
right,
the bank,
being the
right?
bank. Right. Being the bank, you don't have those expenses.
So last week, a guy that we respect and monitor constantly is John Burns.
Mm-hmm.
And John Burns came out with a message last week. And if we'll show the slide here, show the screen. And Joe, this is what got my attention.
Right.
Right. This was a thread that came across, and I thought the headline was pretty significant because the headline essentially said this, Joe, and it said the cost of owning versus renting. Now, this is specifically in a starter home category.
Right.
So meaning, Joe, that the spread's going to be wider. The
Mm-hmm.
difference is going to be greater in more expensive houses than even in starter homes. Okay. And Joe, if you look at this really represents, this is the baseline for rent. So everything below here is just to say this was $2,000 a month, Joe. Okay. Right. Well, to make that the case, their mortgage payment right here would be $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I modified this a little bit. I took their information. I drew my little line, and there's your rent number, right? And this represents basically if you were renting for $2,000 a month. You see that, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Now this is on the same house, okay? But if you had a mortgage payment, you could seller finance it for $3,000 a month on the same house.
That's right.
Wonder if we've entered a note cycle versus a rental cycle, Joe. What do you think?
I think we are entering that. And Eddie, everybody's always been kind of hung up on the fact that, oh, well, it's going to be the 1% rule, right? Well, that doesn't apply anymore.
A lot of things don't apply anymore.
Yeah.
In fact,
it's a different job.
You know, 2 years ago, when your house was appreciating 25% in value, people argue, well, I want to rent because I want appreciation.
Right.
Looking forward, that's not necessarily the number.
That's correct.
And then if you take expenses out of that number in here, then you're looking at your net in here. Right.
Yeah, and so your taxes and your insurance and your maintenance.
When you do this, then this number is even lower, and you're collecting 100% of this number. So, Joe, what if I said, it's okay, Joe, you can make $1,000 more and no expenses?
Right.
You okay with that?
I'm really, really good with that, right? And again, no expenses, no management, nothing. You're the bank.
Our guest today know one of the people in this text thread. Mm-hmm. I have a text thread of all gamers. Everybody in this text thread is kind of a 200 seller finance note a year person or more.
Right. And
it's just a little thread. And so I caught this and I said, what do you guys think? And this was this is a copy of the text thread. This went out last week. There's just 6 people in this thread. I have more, but I would call this the banger crowd, right? Yeah. Right. My friend Mitch Stephen, who many of you know who he is, he's in that loop. He and his partner Mike. And Mitch says, I opted to collect $3,000 a month. Laugh out loud. Right. And basically, I text him what I sent you. This is my friend Brett Tanner. Emily and Adam know him. Believe me, he's a stud in the business. And he says, what happens when rates come down and the argument of rents climb over? And the answer is, I said, well, first of all, rates are not dropping anytime soon. And I think we've got data to prove that.
Yes.
And then I said, generally right now, the acquisition Burr model math won't work, right? We're in a note cycle, not a rental cycle. Now, people that have been so enamored with rentals, the only way to do it, the market has certain situations that change the strategy that's best. I believe flat out, straight up, that we're in a note cycle. Right. So that's just a copy of like a text with kind of my inner circle pals, just to show you, like, we're not messaging them differently than we're messaging you. Is the same math apply to a guy that would do 2 deals a year, the guy that would do 300 deals a year? Does it the same math? I think it's the same math.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
All right, Joe, we started scraping some data here. Freddie Mac come out with, because of inflation, we're not at the 2% level.
Nope, we're over that.
Unemployment rates are trending a bit higher. Mm-hmm. And they're predicting, Fannie Mae and mortgage bankers, they're predicting a recession in the second half of 2023.
Right.
Notes do better in distressed times.
Right.
That's the simplest way I know how to put it. And so that was a great article that Joe scraped this week. And then mortgage originations remain flat. They're down literally between refis and new purchases. They're down about 70%. There's nothing.
And, Eddie, we always talk about, Chairman, Jerome Powell, the chair of the Fed, but one of the Fed governors, Christopher Waller, he says, just because the bank sector has wobbles, it won't stop. I know the rates didn't rise, at the meeting for last week, but he said that won't stop it in the future if we need it, as far as rates rising higher.
All right, Joe, I thought this was interesting. So this was a graph, and this is 5%. So I'm going to show this line. Okay, this is 6%, and I want to show this line all the way across, and this is 7%. Okay, so I'm sort of doing it this way so you can get a relevance of when really rates right in here, Joe, right in here is when rates kind of, even broke the 7% rate.
That's right.
Okay. They broke the 6% rate here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't take long to get to the next number. And now we're seeing we're right up at that number again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I go to masterminds and meetings all the time, and people have more hot sports opinions about that than they do about the Texas Rangers. Okay. So I just thought I would look into the future a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Joe, here's what the future said. Here's June.
Right.
And here's December.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's, but it's hovering right at 7% from August to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a prediction, but these guys have good data. And, we just had some data experts in our office literally this morning, right, Joe? We had a meeting on that. We did. And so anyway, this is how I source the data, so you guys can go check my information. And so the rate situation is not going to fix on residential immediately, right?
Yep.
All right, Joe.
Let's get to our guests.
I want to talk about something that I am really, really, really excited about, right? And because our guest today is a very sophisticated couple that have been very involved in the multifamily business.
Yes.
But they have decided that it's a good day. There's an old saying, right? Some people bet on the jockey and some people bet on the horse.
That's correct.
Right? Well, I think it's a fair statement, but anybody that's fairly well read at the moment, the horse being multifamily might be turning into a little more of a donkey at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can tell you, being an old horseman, a donkey can't run near as fast as a thoroughbred. I can assure you that. Right. So, but they own some long-term multifamily properties. And so they're not saying it's terrible forever, and it's been really good. And they've got some really good deals on the books, but just looking forward at their new production, they're sort of switching gears, and we're really excited about that. And we're excited. So that's where we came up with the tagline, right?
There you go.
How does a jockey switch to a different pony?
Well, and it is appropriate, Eddie, because we've got the Kentucky Derby. We just had, the Preakness, and now we've got Belmont coming up. So the Triple Crown, right?
That's it. All right, Joe, thank you. Great job of helping me gather some of that data.
Yes, sir.
Once again, Joe comes in behind the scenes and always helps NoteSchool paint a good picture of the market and the opportunities. So pretty good little hack today on seller finance payments. John Burns' article was about conventional mortgages. That's just basically saying if you didn't even raise the rate even higher than conventional loans,
right, that's
the difference in money you can collect.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. See you in a minute.
All right. So our guest today is a husband and wife team. I'm so impressed with just really so many things about the way they conduct themselves professionally, ethically, with knowledge, and an innovation and a willing to change. So you guys welcome Emily Cortright and Adam Roberts.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Eddie.
Good morning, Eddie.
So we're kind of neighbors.
That's right.
Yeah, but so sometimes people will come hang out with us. I told Joe I didn't know how we'd ever get three on this camera. So, great to have you guys. So you guys just talk a little bit about kind of where you've been, and then we'll kind of get to where you're going.
Thank you, Eddie, again for having us on NoteSchool TV. I watched my dad hit 30 years at his work in the same job, a dirty job in the sewage plant at the city, and he could not retire because the markets were down. He had been taught his whole life to invest in stocks and mutual funds and that would provide for his retirement. But this was 2009, and he was handcuffed to his job. And from that point forward, I said, that is not going to be me. I am not going to let my retirement years be taken away from me like that. And so Adam and I were on the regular journey. We went to school. We got great jobs. We met at GE, and we were chasing the next job title. So we were moving around the country, and then Adam invites me to a real estate investing class. And at first I look at him and I say, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not going to invest in real estate. But he convinced me to stay. And literally that class changed our lives. And we looked at each other and we said, this is the game changer. This is what's going to make, what's going to make our future different and make a huge difference in our financial freedom. And that was 10 years ago. And we have just launched a real estate investing business. We started with single family. Now we've been in multifamily the past 6 years, and we have really enjoyed the freedom that real estate has provided us.
There's no doubt, there's different asset classes, which we'll talk a little bit about today, but just to step outside the comfort zone and to do that. And I see you guys and your beautiful daughter, and I saw you posted on Facebook about your 40-degree cool tub that your homemade when you had at the thing. So as you know, my kids have been in athletics a lot, and the cold tub is just not my thing, by the way.
Yeah.
We can put a defibrillator on the side if you want to try it.
It is just not my thing. So anyway, I had some fun watching some of your Facebook stuff on that. All right, so you've been in multifamily. It's been a really good run. Sounds to me like about a year and a half ago, you've been struggling with finding a deal. You're both conservative. I would say you're a realist, right? Some of the people in your industry aren't so real. They're a little more an enthusiast. And so I appreciate your discipline and that you've been switching gears. And so Emily, you're also involved with Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some great friends over there at Keller Williams, people that I highly, highly respect. And you kind of got connected with me because of that, and kind of an elite group in Keller Williams. And then the next thing you know, you heard about this next encounter, which was Notes. What were you looking for?
For us, it was really two things come to mind. One, our buy box, our criteria, the conservative underwriting for real estate investments, we aren't going to change that with the market. And we have a lot of investors who, rely on us for investment performance. And so we don't take that lightly. We became, to your point, through a Keller Williams mastermind and some folks in your sphere, Eddie, we came to know about NoteSchool. And I would say that the second thing, that the big thing that struck us was velocity of money. Yeah. Just plain and simple. That's something that in real estate investing, that can be more of a asset appreciation investment over time. And to your prior comments about rents versus, mortgage rates, and it's just tough to get cash flow and velocity of money through a real estate investment these days. And so hence the pivot. And we're glad that we found the NoteSchool ecosystem. It's really helping change the way we think.
Yeah. A couple years ago, we were getting 10% cash flows on the apartment complexes we were buying. And today I haven't bought anything in a year. And it's because they're only cash flowing at 4 to 5% average over a 5-year hold. And that first year might even be 1 to 2%.
Yeah, it's just, there's timing in everything. I presume there's, I know it's not a secret with you guys. What I find is most people that aren't really deeply studying the market, a lot of people are, as we said, a lot of people are betting on the jockey. They're betting on some guy that used to do multifamily, did really well. And now all of a sudden they don't realize that the horse has changed, right? The greatest jockey in the world can't make a donkey beat a thoroughbred. I'm an old horse guy. I can tell you that. Right. And so it's and listen, I've been on the other side of things. I've been on the side when notes weren't the greatest thing. And so we switched over and did note strategies on real estate so that we realized we could use creative financing, but in a different way. And so I think that it's definitely the case. One thing I would say to you guys is usually when somebody becomes and gets in our membership, as you referred to it, Adam, as our ecosystem, right? And our ecosystem is way more than the Joe and Eddie show, right? There's lots of dimensions to it. But when somebody starts in there, they're looking for less of this and more of this. What is it you guys were looking for?
Well, I'll give an example. We are looking for investment opportunities for ourselves and our passive investors that are a little, in Brett Tanner's words, a little less loud. And for us, that we actively manage our apartment complexes. We are boots on the ground. We have had a 12-unit building burned down in the past month. We've had a tenant suing us for a trip and fall. And then we just had another property that got hit by a tornado, basically. And when you think about, and that was all in the past few weeks. So we are looking for investment opportunities that just have a little bit less risk and a little bit less variability to them.
And let's be honest, a little bit more sophistication, right? I'd like to sit down and look at a list of investments and make a decision that's good for me and my family that includes cash flow, and things that we can build generational wealth off of. So,
well, we have meetings internally all the time, and this is what has driven us to what NoteSchool really offers today, and how it might be different than what we did it a few years ago. Our team has an incredible amount of industry experience. If they say it takes 10,000 hours to make an expert, I'm pretty sure that Kevin has 200,000 hours of underwriting experience, right? And it's hard to replace that, right? Mm-hmm. And so we started figuring out ways that we can provide to our students that go down the road with us, that get in our ecosystem. We can provide them things that would be difficult for them to do themselves. And one of the things, Emily, that I would say to you is this. Property management is what it is. My father-in-law that got me in the business, he was a multifamily guy when I met him, in 1980. So it's not that Martha was raised in that environment, right? It is what it is. I mean, like it's work, and there's crazy stuff that happens. The time it takes to manage notes and the time it takes to manage rentals is at least 10 to 1. I mean,
easily.
You can own 10 notes for owning one rental with the same workload either way, right? So people like that. All right, let's talk about you guys, your direction. You have created a good nest of investors, so you're now swinging it the other way, and you're saying, "Okay, investors, I'm riding a different horse now." Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. So most recently, we worked with your team, Eddie, on purchasing some notes for our own portfolio. We always believe getting in and experiencing it, and then working out any kinks prior to conducting business with the investors. But we just launched passive investment opportunities in notes to our entire investor database a few weeks ago. And so Emily and I have been super busy with phone calls and a little bit of education and talking about NoteSchool with folks, because we firmly believe that education component's critical. Yeah. And there's been a lot of buzz. People are, to your point, a little bit tired of the current horse in the race. Yeah. And they want something different. They want something for their families. So it's been really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The cash flow opportunities are far and above better than what we can offer them with multifamily. And so it's a potential different investor profile. Somebody may want that appreciation on the back end, but somebody else may be really interested in the cash flow and the very defined payments. And so that is the conversations that we're having in the investor that we're targeting.
Are investors, do you think passive investors are generally aware of the current market conditions in multifamily?
I think maybe 50% as much as us active investors are. Generally, their barometer on the market is whether they're getting mailbox money from us, right?
Mhm.
I just spoke to an investor last weekend who, questioned, our ability to make distributions on some of our multifamily properties. And that conversation led me to believe that, this investor probably wants something with a little bit more upfront income today. Just like we do.
Yeah, I think I agree with your number. I talk to people all the time that half of them are fully aware of kind of what's going on in the market, and the other half of them are like, whatever. Next week we're going to have our market update, and we just have the mid-year TREP report, which I'm sure you guys are very familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say that the word headwinds is used a number of times in that report. And so we're trying to make sure that, we met with a data group this morning, and that is the ultimately considered to be the gold standard for any kind of commercial real estate. And we were meeting with some of their staff this morning talking about the market. And, we were saying, I was just kind of asking them, I'm like, what do you think? And they said, well, we have 7,000 lenders that use our platform. It's a little bit hard for a lender not to know about it, right? So I think the idea with notes is honestly, guys, I've been doing this for 43 years. The simplest answer that has always been true 100% of the time is when banking is bad relative to real estate lending, note business gets good. Right? If you want to go look at one identifiable thing, and so the inventory of notes that we have, the pricing of notes and pricing of notes that have good returns in them, good cash flow, all of that has pretty drastically changed. Your timing of coming to Note School, quite honestly, was very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your one runway ahead of you is very good. I'll bet you this, guys. I bet you never leave notes.
I agree with that. It's
100%.
We see the opportunity, and we're here to stay.
Yeah, I just go back to the velocity of money, the ability to reinvest. To your point, there's a lot of real estate investors, and thankfully we're not in this position, but there's a lot of real estate investors that wish they were the bank right now.
I bet that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you're awesome. I'm so glad you're a part of it. I think you represent what Note School wants to be for people. Let me tell you something. I have an old saying. I'm an old cowboy, right? One of the best horse trainers I've ever known in my entire life, multiple world's champions, said, great horses make great trainers, meaning that a great trainer can't make a below average horse great. And so I would say that great students make great training companies. And so you guys you've dug in, you've been a model student, you've hung out with us, you've worked at it, you're figuring it out. And we're glad to have you. And I'm so glad to see the impact that I think that we're able to see with not just you guys and not just your family, but also some investors that want to follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eddie. It's been a great run so far. We look forward to a very long relationship.
Great. Mr. Joe.
Yes. Hey, guys. Great job, by the way. Right. Yeah. Everything that Eddie and Adam and Emily have been talking about is it's just exactly what it is. Being the bank is a bit more freeing than being the landlord. And oh my God, I didn't know, in the last month, you guys have had one after another. I guess when the phone rings, you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and I see your Share the Love, your charity there, and being able to travel and do that and help folks with wheelchairs and so on. That's an amazing thing. And that's why we do what we do, right? So anyway, we appreciate you guys, as Eddie said, and what you bring, and your willingness to share with others is amazing. And that's kind of what this whole ecosystem is all about, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, again, we appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon. I will wrap us up and take us home.
Bye-bye.
So, guys, thanks so much for being with us again this week on NoteSchool TV. Yes, you can see, as promised, amazing guests today, and this is the type of folks that is in this NoteSchool ecosystem that we talk about, and it is amazing. We don't just talk about it; it's real. It's the real deal. So again, we'd love to have you guys join us at a NoteSchool masterclass. Mr. Eddie there, he and our chief market officer Max Keller do a great job on our 2-hour master class. And in that class, you can learn more about what we do at NoteSchool and how to invest in notes. So you can't beat the price. We'll let you come. It's on us, right? So we look forward to seeing you there. NoteSchool.com/TV, NoteSchool.com/TV. Just put in the subject line masterclass, and we'll have somebody get a hold of you. Again, thanks so much. We will see you next week when we will have our end of the month monthly update. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.